Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'll be showing you some useful tips on how to use the Unity engine. Okay, so the first tip I want to share with you is how you can reduce the amount of space that Unity takes up on your machine. Now, if you've been using Unity for quite some time, you might have gotten the impression that it keeps on taking more and more memory the more you keep using it. Now, one of the potential reasons for this could be the way that Unity caches the packages and assets that you use. Normally, when you try to import a package or an asset into your project, Unity will first have to download it, and then it will store it locally on your machine. Those files will then stay there even after you've imported them into the project. Now, 9 times out of 10, this is a positive thing and will reduce the amount of memory or the amount of time you need to import it because you don't have to keep re-downloading it every single time. However, if you've used Unity for a fair amount of time, this can eventually add up and can make it feel like it's taking up more and more memory. Now, one way to check if this is the case is you can go to Edit, Preferences, and go to the Package Manager tab on the left here. Here you can see the locations on your machine where Unity will store the packages and assets that you download. Now, if you can come over here to the site, click Show in Explorer, and it will open a folder where these assets are stored. As it says down here, your assets will be stored in the assets store-5.x subfolder. Now, if you open up my folder, you can see there's very little here, and these are the names of the organizations which own the assets. The reason why there's so little stuff here is because I've cleaned mine out recently because it was getting quite huge. So you can check here and see how much space it's taking up, and you can delete it if you want to free up some space. The next tip is going to be on how to improve your productivity. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you're doing the same thing or process over and over again, it might be a good idea to familiarize yourself with the different controls and shortcuts that Unity offers so you can do the same procedure faster. One of the most common ones that you'll be familiar with is that if you hold down the right mouse button, you will enter first person view. And if you use the WASD keys, you can also move around first person view. Another control that you can use is the shift key, which acts like a sprint and will speed up the movement. You can also use the Q key to go straight down or the E key to go straight up. Another movement control that you can also use is if you press the Alt key and then use left mouse button, you can orbit around the focus point of the camera. If you use the middle mouse button, you can pan the camera. And if you use the right mouse button, you can also zoom in and out. In terms of shortcuts, one useful one if you want to take a good look around the scene. With the scene view selected, you can press Shift and Space to enter full screen mode, and again to exit. If you want to take a look at a specific game object, you can select it and press the F key to zoom in on it. With the game object selected, if you want to do any sort of manipulation to it, by default you have the position gizmo. You can also press the E key, which will change it to the rotation gizmo, or the R key, which will change it to the scale gizmo. And then you can press W to bring it back to the position. Lastly, if you would like to create a copy of a game object, you can select it and press Ctrl D, and this will create a duplicate of the original game object. When working with collections, one common thing that you will do is you have to add a list of game objects to a collection on one of your scripts. Now you could drag and drop these one by one, However, what you would want to do ideally is to select all of them at once. However, if you try to select multiple ones, the inspector will change to the selected game objects. One useful tool which Unity offers is up here. You can press the lock button and this will lock the inspector. Now whenever you press on another game object, this will stay locked to this one. And now you can select all of the game objects and drag and drop them together like this. After you're done, you can just press the button again and it will go back to normal. If one of your game objects isn't behaving how you expect it to, and you need help to debug it, there is a useful tool in the editor which you can use to help you see what's going on inside of the game object. Now normally the only fields which you will see in the inspector are ones which have been serialized. These are public fields or private fields which have the serialized field property added to them. However, if you go up to the menu here, where are the three dots, and you change the mode from normal to debug mode, this will show you some additional data. This includes the instance ID, the script, the local identifier in the file, and more importantly for debugging, it will show you private fields and some other properties which normally you wouldn't be able to see. These are read-only, however, they will allow you to see what's going on inside of the game object. Here is a fun example of how you can use this tool. Here we have our adorable little cowboy bean character, and if we click on him, you'll see that his facial expression is very angry. But the public reason for this is that everything is fine. So we can examine these settings here, but we can't really figure out what's going on. So if we change to the debug mode, now we can see the private fields and we can see that the real reason is that he doesn't have enough cash. So if we change back to normal, now we can go to his wallet component and we can see that he is at 0. So no wonder he's very mad. If we just give him some cash here, you can see now his facial expression is very happy, and the reason is now everything is actually fine. Of course, this is just a fun example. Normally you wouldn't write a script like this, but hopefully this gives you an idea of how you can use it. If you need to change the position of the camera, but you find the default gizmo controls to be a bit limiting, one very useful way to do this is you can go to Scene View, change the position of the scene view to wherever you want the camera to be, then select the camera component, right click and go down to Align with View. This will change the position and rotation of the camera to match the scene view. Alternatively, if you would like to change the position of the scene view to match the camera or any other game object, you can also select it and click on Align View with Selected, and this will change the scene view to be the same as the camera. Thanks for watching. The next video will be on how to make tracking projectiles. If you would like me to cover a specific topic, let me know, and I'll see you all next time.